When we launched Screener.co in 2011, the ability to write formulaic fundamental screens using a simple syntax was very innovative. With new AI technology, we can now make formulaic screening even easier. You can simply describe a mathematical inequality in natural language, and our AI system will draft the screener condition using the Screener.co syntax. You can then review and adjust the formula as needed. The long-term vision is that you will be able to create entire screens from a single natural language prompt. But, as you will see, the current state of AI tools requires that we launch with our current incremental approach. Nevertheless, this makes formulaic screening even easier before, even when the AI isn't perfect. Let's try some examples. So you'll notice in this beta UI for Screener now, there's a new AI condition button in the basic screener. So let's click that. And you'll see it lets you describe a large prompt where you can specify in plain English an inequality. So let's try one. Trailing 12-month net income yield is greater than 5%. And those of you that have used Screener before know that we don't have a built-in variable for net income yield. It has to create a formula. Similarly, in the prompt we use with the AI system, we're not explicitly defining it either. So let's click Generate Condition. It can take 15 or 20 seconds maximum for the AI to think and come up with its draft for what the Screener condition should look like. So you'll just have to wait for a bit. And you can see this is what it came up with. It says the AI created a freeform condition. You could edit it before adding it to your screen. So because you got that message, this is actually, as written, a valid formula in terms of passing the syntax requirements. Let's see what it actually did. So it summed up 4 quarters of net income. So it correctly recognized what trailing 12-month net income was. It knew that net income yield is net income divided by market capitalization and created that screener formula correctly. And then it knew that 5% is 0.05. So this is actually the correct condition right off the bat. So all I have to do is click Save Condition. And now it'll add that to my screen, and I'll have the AI-created screener condition in the screen. So let's try another one. Let's do gross margin percentage in the most recent quarter is more than 1.05 times what it was 4 quarters ago. So again, you have to give a time period for each metric, and you describe an inequality in text. Let's see what it comes up with when I send this one to the AI. So it found a variable, gross margin, most recent quarter, and again, I got the message saying it validated. So that is correct for gross margin in the most recent quarter. But it also recognized that we don't have a variable built in for what it was 4 quarters ago. So it correctly picked the time period for the variables it would need. And it calculated what gross margin in dollars divided by revenue is gross margin percentage. So it correctly interpreted the formula. Similarly, I asked it for a 1.05 times multiplier, and it correctly did that as well. So I can actually save this exactly as it is, and it'll add it to my screener view. And look, I just added a new condition to the screen. Let's try another one. Let's do trailing 12-month capital expenditures is less than or equal to 1.20 times what it was in the prior 12-month period. And that's a little bit ambiguous in terms of when that starts. So I'm actually going to help it a little bit and say beginning 4 quarters ago in the prompt. So let's see what it does with this one. And like I mentioned in the intro, not everything is going to be perfect coming from the AI. That's why we have the user interface the way it is. So you can see it gives us a success dialog box. So this is a valid condition. And at first glance, it might look correct. So 12-month capital expenditures, that's 4 quarters, is less than or equal to 1.20 times what it was. And it correctly does the 4 quarters beginning prior 12-month period. But we actually prompt it and let it know that capital expenditures in Screener is actually negative because we pull it from the cash flow statement where it's a cash outflow. And the AI in this case does not correctly interpret that because less than or equal to, in this case, means there's more capital expenditures. So you would either need to make this greater than or equal to, which you can edit in the window, Or you can just multiply both sides by -1. So let's multiply both sides by -1. And then we can add this condition. And again, it got it mostly correct with only a small error. And then, so you've seen success criteria, you've seen small edits needed, and then let's just give it garbage. So what happens if you don't give it an inequality, or you just give it something that it can't interpret and figure out what's going to happen when I generate a condition using the AI? So you'll get a different message. The AI was unable to generate an inequality from your prompt. So in this case, you'd have to go back to square one and revisit your prompt. So our hope is that this is going to make it very easy for people to create formulas in Screener. And even when the AI doesn't get it entirely right, you can make small edits and it still saves you a lot of time relative to our existing screening options. Right now, we're releasing this in beta. If you'd like access to it, please reach out to support@screener.co. For active subscribers, we'll give you the beta URL and some test credits for AI that you can actually create your own Screener conditions. I'm looking forward to onboarding people onto this new service. Thanks for your time.